And so we spend a lot of time talking about how to generate the right energy for intuition. And then on the side of mission, this notion of visceral drafting versus visceral reacting. Visceral drafting, the more you do it, you become easier to understand. A lot of people will talk about this notion of thinking out loud or thinking in public. A lot of us struggle to do that, right? Can you brainstorm in front of a lot of people? Like, can you actually think out loud what you're really thinking? And visceral drafting is the extreme end of being yourself, applying your intuition, but ideally on insane and hard mode ideas. And being comfortable that at best, you're going to be able to formulate a 50% idea. So not 100%, not 80%, because there's so many moving variables and so much uncertainty, starting to get comfortable that at best, it's being able to share a 50% idea. So visceral drafting is one, but visceral reacting. The notion that when you hear some idea, someone speak, our mind is reacting instantly, and it doesn't have to be logical. And it made me think about
this. Most people won't share that.
And what ends up happening on intuition is these tangential thoughts and ideas. When you start putting them on the table rapidly, it might seem like it doesn't connect, but it's amazing how the human brain is problem solving always. So you will find a way to connect. But the notion of human beings reacting viscerally together is what creates good thinking in hard, insane projects in today's uncertain world. The other part I talked about here is VD stands for visceral drafting. VR is visceral reacting. The red or the pink circles are the wrong ways. We don't start the day visceral drafting. We start the day by viscerally reacting, which means we're reacting to email. We're reacting to, my notes from yesterday, social media. We start the day the wrong way. But when you start to try to visceral draft, as in share my intuition, how does my mind, having slept, solve this difficult problem? As you get stuck, we tend to go and say, you know what, maybe I'll just get rid of some tactical things. I got things to check off my to-do list, things that are more clear and easy to do. In the morning, when you wake up, natural cortisol is happening. Even when you think you're exhausted, you have more cortisol. Attack the hard stuff. And if I'm struggling with the hard stuff, add physical hard stuff like lifting weights and attack the hard stuff. This notion of using the natural biological rhythm of how we operate to attack hard missions. That notion of bookending evening till like morning with the actual hard mission. And knowing, by the way, all I need is a minimum of an hour and a half sleep, which sounds like nothing, to be able to have my subconscious mind attack it and solve something. I just wish for every person who works at Next Jump to wake up and visceral draft. And what's interesting about visceral drafting is you're kind of like Sylvie's point about the acting, and you're trying to capture what your mind's it's almost like everything you're kind of like life experience, which is already in you. You're getting used to building a routine of solving the most difficult stuff first thing in the morning. And I don't mean first thing like 7 a.m. or 7:30, but like kind of before you get to like, say, 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., you are spending time trying to go through like, what do I want to do? And there's something before you look at metrics, before you look at like the tactical numbers and things I have to do, like looking and actually going more free to like, what do I want to do? Once you get used to this pattern of visceral drafting, first thing on something difficult, your mind will start to always know that's what's happening in the morning. So even without injecting the problem in the evening, it already knows when you wake up, that's what you're going to do. So you're like used to actually just getting automated into solving the difficult stuff. And the difficult stuff, and this is where it's kind of starting to get aware of how my intuition is solving the problem differently than how my metrics-driven version is solving the problem, how my to-do list tactically solves the problem, how my, what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of ways that we think we're supposed to act, but it's trying to learn how my mind acts. And it is inclusive of everything I've seen and experienced. The test is, does it get you fired up? And you'll see in the beginning it won't, because you're stuck, you're over worrying, you're over regretting, you're like feeling like I don't have the energy. The value in getting that drafted and the value of practicing solving the difficult problems when I have the highest cortisol, the highest energy, before inputs change whatever I'm going to do into visceral reactive. Right? It's the inputs that actually alter what you wake up with. Through different physical oscillations, you can regenerate that fresh intuition, maybe 3 times, maybe 6 times a day.